Welcome back. Today I'll be talking about basic operation in PySpark. We'll be doing some basic operation on Spark data frames, and for that we'll be using some stock data from Apple. Now let's dive into our exercises. First we'll import PySpark using find Spark. For this I'll just copy and paste from my other places. So rather than to type this whole thing, and let's run it. It works. Next thing we need to do is import the PySpark itself. From PySpark, we'll import the Spark session. No module name PySpark. I think I made a mistake here. Spelling mistake. Now it worked. Next step is to create an application named Spark. We'll name the application this session. We'll name the Spark session as a operations Spark session dot builder dot app name operations. This is our application. This is our name for our Spark session operations. What it does is it creates a session, and will assume that this session is an application and its name is operations. Now we have to get the data itself for our exercise. Data, we'll name this data as a data frame. For this, our raw data, we'll say it's input data. That's the name of our data, equal to spark.read.csv. We'll use this, and application name is Apple stock CSV. CSV infer schema. We'll use this. True. Header is equal to true. So we are assuming that this data will have some header, and Spark will infer the schema from the data itself. Infer schema means, okay, this column is data, this column has this data type, this column has this, that's the inferring the schema. Not everything will be string schema, but if there are jet column like that, you try to interpret the what's depending on what data it gets. Now let's check what it did when it interpreted schema. What did we have here? Okay. It says you cannot find this thing. Interesting. Okay, so I made a mistake here. It's usually apple, not apple. Now let's see if it works. It's reading the data. Next thing we need to do is print the schema to understand what schema is data made of. Input data dot print schema. See, this is what the inferring the schema means. It is a data. Date is a string type. Open is a double. High is a double. Low is double. Close is double. Volume is integer. Adjusted close is double. So that's how you interpret the schema. And the nullable because it must have found some null values here. Next step is filtering the data. Large part of working with DataFrame is able to quickly filter out data based upon conditions. DataFrames are built on top of Spark SQL platform, which means this is that is you already know SQL. You can quickly and easily grab data using SQL commands or using DataFrame methods. You will try to do some filtering using DataFrame commands. DataFrame commands are filter, close anything less than 500. We'll try to show what are those values, what are those rows. Data frame is input data. This is our input data, and we'll see what we get here. Top 20 rows. Now we only select the one column called open. For this data frame dot filter close this in 500. Select open. We'll just select the one column that's open, and let's see what we get. Okay, we are having error here, and I made a mistake. It should be input data, not data frame, and we have some 20 rows. It is showing only 20 rows. Now let's select a few more columns. We'll just copy and paste it and make some edit to that. We'll try to get two columns here. Let's see what we get. Close. Okay, so we have these two columns, open and close, right? Okay. Using normal Python comparison operator is another way to do this. This way they look very similar to SQL operator, except you need to make sure you are calling the entire column with data frame using format column name. Let's see some examples now. As it says, Let's see some examples. Data frame, input data dot filter. We'll filter. This is using DataFrame command. Close. This is normal. This is using normal Python operation, or like using DataFrame command. Okay. Earlier we were using SQL. Now you are using this DataFrame only. Okay. DataFrame is not defined. It is saying it needs input data. You cannot just directly use the DataFrame. Now we are getting similar results what we saw earlier. Now we want to make some change to the filter command. What we'll do is we'll input a filter and we'll add one more condition here, and data frame open. Data frame open. And we are hoping that this will give some error. See, it gives some error, and it says that it needs a boolean or some parenthesis. This is for not. This is not operator, okay? And it needs some kind of an expression. It says we need some parenthesis here. Now we'll make some changes to this and try to see what's going on. AND operator, right? So it has to be first AND operator. Let's see what it does. Data frame is not defined. Okay, I need input data, not data frame. Let's see what it does here. It doesn't give any clear matches, but what it needs is it needs a parenthesis here and parenthesis here for it to be, and we need to enclose everything in parenthesis once more for it to work. Df is not defined again, so it has to be instead of df, it has to be input data, as well. You know, now it's working. Moving on, we want to do OR operation between close and open. How to do this? We'll type it here, and instead of and we'll just write the pipe symbol, which is OR operation in PySpark. And here we go, we have this. 19. Moving on, next step is to create a NOT operation between these two conditions. How do we do this? We'll use this squiggly symbol in front of the this condition, and this changes to AND. And when we do this, it will become a it'll become a it'll become this one. It'll become a not operation. Got it. Moving on to next statement. We want to filter only for certain. We want to filter for certain value. Let's say we want to filter for input data. We want to filter for certain value. This can be data frame using the certain column low. Let's say we want to filter for 197.16 and show that. Df is not defined again. I'm having a hard time on this one, it seems. Input data. Okay, so it is displaying only record that has a low value equal to 197.16. Now we want to, instead of showing, we just want to collect the data and save it somewhere. It returns the object, Python object, and for that you need to use a collect keyword for that. Okay, how do we do this? Let's go here and type input data filter input data low. Instead of doing show, we'll just collect it into a Python object. 197.16 and just collect that into a Python object. Okay, and here this is a row and this is a Python object and it's been called into that date open, and this is a Python object. Now we want to assign it into some store into an object itself. It's running, but it's not stored anywhere. It's not going anywhere. Let's see what we do. What if we can just show it? What happens here? I think it just show you an error. Yeah, it just shows you an error. We need to store it first before we can show it. Okay, then we'll store that into some result keyword, result variable, and we'll just copy whatever we have earlier here, and we'll just copy and paste it here. Now we can see what type is this variable made of, just to play around, and we can just type here and say result, and we will see that it is a list. Okay, then we'll try to see what this list has a first statement. We'll try to save this result and see what this has. Dot show, and it's a row. And what if I do show here and it still gives an error? Show is not in the list. Show is not part of the list infrastructure. Okay, so this is what we have. Row is the Row is the first row in this list. And what we do, this result, what happens here? It's the same because it has only one row. That means we can subset this result based upon our liking. And I want to display only the first row, and which is this one. Okay. Now next, row can be called to turn into dictionaries. We can convert rows into dictionaries. Wow, interesting. Let's see how do we do this. Row, and we can do as dict, and let's see what we get here. Let's first of all convert this into row. Excuse me. Well, let's see, assign this into a row variable, and then run this one. Oh wow, it became a dictionary. Interesting, right? Then we can iterate through each item in the dictionary as well. How do we do this? For item in row, for each item in a row, we can do print item. So we are just iterating to the each values here. Open. Okay. We are going through the row, and let's see. We are going through the row, and we are just iterating through the value. And row is the first row of the whole data set. Nice. Let's quickly summarize what we learned today. We learned about a basic operation in PySpark. We learned about filtering the data using SQL and using the DataFrame keywords. And also we learned about how to convert a row into dictionary in DataFrame. Thank you so much.